In this video, we're going to take a look at how you go about moving objects around in Max. Now, the Move command, in fact all three transformation commands, can be activated in several different ways. By clicking on a toolbar icon, by using a keyboard shortcut, or by right-clicking with your mouse. We'll be looking at all three. Let's start by taking our top view full screen. We can do that with the Maximize Viewport Toggle shortcut, Alt-W. Now, back in the command panel, we'll activate the Sphere command, then make a golf ball-sized sphere in the middle of our view. Once you've done that, you can right-click to get out of the sphere creating command. The Move command can be found on the left-hand side of your toolbar. Let's go ahead and click on that. Now, when you do, the transformation gizmo pops up directly in the middle of the object. In order to move the sphere, we'll now use that gizmo. Put your mouse directly on top of the green stick. The stick is activated when it's yellow. Let's now move our mouse up and down. If you attempt to move left to right, notice that you're restricted in doing so. The reason being is that we've turned off the red stick by the way that we've grabbed the gizmo. Go ahead and right-click while leaving the left mouse down to cancel the command. This time around, let's grab only the red stick, which will in essence turn off the green direction. Now let's move the ball from side to side. If you attempt to go up and down, you'll notice that you've been locked out of the green direction. So these both would be considered to be one-way moves. If wanting to move two directions at a time, position your mouse where the little red and green sticks come together on the side. This will fill in the gold box, in essence activating both directions. Let's hold that down, then move in the shape of a figure 8. With both the green and red sticks active, you see that you can now freely move around your screen in both directions. Now, I want you to notice that your normally 3-sticked gizmo is only showing two directions. The reason for that is we're working in a two-dimensional view. Let's reactivate our Select command and we'll take our Perspective view full screen. This time, in activating the Move command, let's use the keyboard shortcut. That's the letter W. In a three-dimensional view, as the perspective is, we can now see all three sticks on our gizmo. Moving in a specific direction would be done the same way as it was in the top view. You merely grab the color of stick you want to move in and go to work. Let's move the ball up and down by grabbing the blue or Z direction. I'll again cancel out by leaving the left mouse down and simply right-clicking. Let's try things by grabbing the red stick. And we'll also experiment with using the green. Two-directional moves can also be accomplished in the perspective view by simply filling in the correct square on the gizmo. Let's light up the gold square that connects the red and blue directions. This enables us to move along those two axes while locking out the green direction. Let's do the same thing, this time though by filling in the gold box that connects the blue and green. And lastly, we can try to slide our sphere along the grid by filling in the gold box connecting red and green. Now that's a little trickier to get to, so be careful on where you position your mouse. Let's take our viewports back to the front view full screen so I can show you something. By activating the Snap command, you can move in a more precise way. That Snap option can be found both on the toolbar or by using the shortcut key, the letter S. Once the snap's been activated, moving your mouse along the screen will have the cursor followed by a gold cross. You'll also notice that that cross seems to be snapping to the intersections on your grid. Now let's move the ball by activating the gold box on the gizmo, moving the ball both ways at the same time. The snapping command allows you to move the object in a more precision type way. The green line that you see shows where the ball came from and where it's going. I'll put the ball back in the center of the grid and turn off the snap. Why don't we work on a quick example that'll give us a little more practice in properly reading the gizmo. This is a file named Moving Objects, which can be found in the Working Files folder. Let's go ahead and select the torus in the middle of the screen, then activate our Move command with the right mouse click. Down on the lower right-hand side, you'll choose Move. Okay, let's see if we can't reposition the torus so the middle of the torus surrounds one of the red balls. For that, we're going to need to activate both sticks on our gizmo for a two-way move. I'm going to move mine to the ball on the upper left-hand side. Let go of your mouse. Now, grabbing the red stick, let's slide the torus directly over to the right-hand ball. Going down now to the lower right-hand side, we're going to want to restrict ourselves to only the green direction. Then, back to the middle of the screen, we'll again activate the two-way way of moving. So nothing fancy here, it was just a matter of practicing on how to specifically grab the gizmo. Let's now do something a little more challenging by converting to our perspective view full screen. Now, same thing, put the middle of the torus around one of the red balls at the top of the box. I'll grab the green stick to move it over, then I'll slide the torus toward the front using the red stick. Shifting over to one of the top left balls, I'll now restrict myself to the green or Y direction. Then dropping down to the ball directly below that, I'll lock myself down to blue. Now, if you'd prefer to move your object by means of a series of spinners, there's a couple different ways you can do that. First, you can simply right-click on the Move icon up on the toolbar. This brings up what they call the Type In transform. Over on the left-hand side, now experiment with changing the X, Y, and Z directions. Now remember, X is red, Y is green, and Z would be blue. You'll also find a series of transform spinners down below the timeline. Another important thing to be aware of is working exclusively in only one view can many times get you in trouble. It's absolutely vital that you always remain aware of the way things are turning out looking. In other words, the way things are or aren't lining up in all of your views, not just one. Let's take a quick look at an example of that. We're going to be using a file named Moving in 4 Views, which can be found in the Working Files folder. Now, this file has specifically been designed to illustrate just how locking yourself down into working in only one view can sometimes create quite a mess. Let's go ahead and window select the gold triangle. It's actually a 3-sided torus. We'll now activate our Move command using any of the possible ways. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to center this object around the green circle. Light up both sticks on the gizmo and move accordingly. Let's now deselect things going back to 4 views. Okay, now when using only the top view, the gold triangle appeared to be centered around the green object. Look at the way that looks though in the front window. The yellow object is actually at the bottom of our green cylinder. So to move it up, activate the front view, locking down to a single direction on your gizmo, then move it toward the center of the green object. Did you notice how we shifted in working from one viewport to another, all depending on what we wanted to do? Moving the torus in an upward direction would be awfully tough to accomplish if attempting that transform in the top. Now, back in the top view, I'd like to make a couple more copies of the torus. Activate the view, then hold down your Shift key. Grab the gizmo, filling in the gold box, then drag a copy to the upper left-hand side of that top view. When the dialog opens, simply say OK. We'll then hold down the Shift key again, then make a copy diagonally to the lower right-hand side in the top. Again, we can say OK when the dialog opens. Now, I'd like you to take your front view full screen. That's going to be important. Once you've done that, you can type Z to center your work. Our goal here will be to stack the other 2 torus on top of and below the one that's centered on our stick. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll grab the one on the left, stack that on the top. Then I'll grab the one on the right, and we'll position that along the bottom. Now everything's looking pretty good, right? Well, watch what happens if we go to shaded mode by typing F3. That right there is not a good sign. Let's go back to 4 views and we'll see what we're working with. So take a look at that. When locking down to one window and working in wireframe mode, things look just fine. You can see though that as far as lining things up, we're all out of whack. Go ahead and fix the problem using any of the windows that you choose. I'm going to work in the top view. So that ought to get you going with moving things around in a scene. Hopefully the examples that we've gone over really drive home how important it is to not lock yourself down into any one view when working. Always remember, things may look great in one window, but could very well be way out of line in another.